Yo, check me out, I'm elderb. It's Sunday, and we're starting a new adventure. Journey, exploration, call it what you will. We're starting out Kerbal Space Sundays. First edition is today, and I'm already lied to you. I have no Revert career day one on there, and we'll probably see on multiple occasions where that would have been a huge misstep if I were to make that a true statement. I'm gonna try, but I only have like I don't know, 100 and something hours in Kerbal Space Program, and I have not played it in years and years and years. So the more I thought about the consequences that would arise from a no revert run through on career for the first time in years, the more I realized what a terrible misstep that would be. So we'll see. We'll get to the first part where I would consider it, and then we'll see if we'll repeal that self-imposed rule or not. Maybe we'll do it, maybe we won't. We'll find out. Regardless of all that nonsense, we're going to do a career playthrough of Kerbal Space Program. I won't play it outside of streaming on Sundays, so you will see everything that I see about it. I won't come in early and build ships or do missions or any of that cool stuff. We'll do it live, as they say. Tea of the evening is apple tea. It's time for Kerbal Space Program. Now, as I said, it has been a long time. I do have old save game that we won't be visiting. I think I'll pop in there eventually just to peek on it. We're not going to change any settings. I've not ever done a custom flag of any type. See if there's anything cool we want to pick up on. We'll probably just do the generic. That's something I could have been a little more prepared for, but the Kerbal flag is fun. We'll roll with that and get this bad boy going. Now the only thing I don't know, same time every time I stream a game for the first time, is will my mute button and like, you know, is that the self-destruct rocket button? We'll find out sooner than later. Now I have done the tutorials and such, so, and I've been working through missions just to get reacclimated over the space center facilities, we need information with like the controls and how to go about things and things like that. So if I remember right, they kind of just cut you loose though. Yeah, because we already have our initial guys. We're not worried about hiring 62k. We can't even afford more Kerbonauts. Now, obviously, you know, it's Kerbin and they're Kerman, and these are not astronauts. But I've got to go with the, you know, the accepted English. Otherwise, I'll drive all of us crazy. All right, we'll head right over and grab some contracts because we need some cash. Crew report before launching. That's about as easy as it gets for money right there. Launch our first vessel. Off the launch pad or the runway to achieve the goal. Two super easy ones. We're going to leave those contracts because I don't even remember what parts you start with. I think like as rudimentary as you can get. I don't think he walks you through anything. Yeah, okay. They were smart with that too, like keep the tutorial separate from the actual gameplay, if you will. Yeah, you don't even get fuel tanks to start. Structural, basic fin. I think like maybe just a thermometer? No, just the mystery goo, okay. Let's get building. No, obviously it's just gonna be like the little hopper for the first one. We will save all our aircraft, but I think the save game stuff is pretty much just going to be like, we'll see. We might have to restart this series shortly thereafter. Let me turn the music down here. I think it's blaring at you. But the intent was kind of just to have a save at the end of each session. I don't know how feasible that is. Like I said, you know, the dudes who've been doing this like as a career are still reverting and quick loading and quick saving, so Who knows? It'll be fun to try. We'll give it a shot. Alright, since we can't really do much of anything, can't even really control it at this point either, so we just have to go with having it get as little out of control as possible. We'll do 2 goos. We'll grab one right away on the pad and then one on the way up. Now I think we'll call it when I kind of committed to the no revert. I was like, I don't know, that's probably not a good idea. I probably should have thought about that a little better. But contracts complete, milestones met. There we go, chute's open. That's going to be a little bit of a drag to watch that. We were in the yellow though, so I didn't really want to let it speed up. This doesn't really matter at this point. I don't think it'll save it for next time either. So let's go ahead and time warp ourselves down, because otherwise we're going to be sitting here for far too long. I mean, it's already going to be a long time. When I was playing around in missions, having forgotten, I had put like three or four parachutes on it, and obviously it cuts your descent rate per parachute, so it was like 2 meters per second, and I had set it at like 4,000 because I was getting a little frightened. So it's super funny to do that once again. But at the time, like I said, I was kind of doing a practice run, I guess, in the missions for a, you know, a no revert career run. Just trying to see if I can get eyes on our little shadow down here. I think that's what that is. Yeah, I can't really, well, that's that. I don't know what this is over here. We'll have to take a peek over there at some point. As soon as we get some stuff to let us do more science experiments, we'll build a little rover, drive around and get some stuff, because you get the different biomes and grab more science. I don't think Yeah, I don't think there's too many that are easy to get to, and unless you can pop over to the desert launch site. I didn't even know until recently that you could unlock other launch sites, so my hours was not spent experiencing much of the game, just building and launching and trying to tech tree as much stuff as possible. But I'm excited, it'll be fun. This is all spurred from a playthrough of, or a Before the Window Closes episode rather, of Reentry. That was this week. Excellent simulation game. I highly recommend it if that's something you're into, and historical space missions. But I think kind of just tinkering around and being goofy with experimenting on ships and some progression, this is more the game for that type of thing. Alright, as we near the surface, let's not smack into it. Okay, first mission complete. Let's do another goo, because we didn't do one on the ground. And recover our good friend here. Alright, goo from the launch pad, or crew report rather. Goo from flying a Kerbin. Goo from the crawler way, which means we can do another one at the launch pad. I forgot you can get one from each one of the buildings. And recovered vessel. So 26 science. Got some money for the parts. And then our boy Jeb got 1 experience. So let's go over to R&D with 26. I do want to take a second to see what we've got here, because this is going to be important so we can keep reusing the experiments. Decoupler will obviously be good when we unlock some rocket stuff. So we almost like really guaranteed need both of these. So I don't have a means to steer yet. And that's from here. Then we have the bigger solid rocket boosters. We get our first liquid engine. So the top and bottom have got to happen essentially, kind of without question. So we'll unlock Rocketry and Engineering 101. The winglet is really more for kind of space plane stuff. Aerodynamics I'm not worried about until we get big rockets, which is definitely over here more so. Survivability, we have just enough for survivability. Service bay would be good for slapping the experiments inside it. Heat shields for when we start going up. There's another science thing, so that's another good reason to grab that. And the drogue chutes. Just the drogue chute, rather, that's just the radial mount. I think we'll hit that one right away also, because the Science Junior is going to be a good thing for us to acquire. Obviously the flight controls is huge. These are steerable. Yeah, small built-in aileron. We're a long way off from that, which is funny because we just started, so why wouldn't we be? But that's all space plane stuff. Okay, I think we're gonna go survivability just so we can get, you know, store more experiments so we don't have them hanging off the side of the aircraft. Kind of our moonlander stuff, and we can't afford anything else right now anyway, so let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, the flight control is probably the next thing we're going to look at. Okay, so we can get the barometer on. The other thing we need to keep an eye on is when we can get wheels. Yeah, this is the first time we can kind of do that. So it's going to take us 45 science points to be able to get our little rover and go around and grab some experiments. But good start. I think it honestly might be worth kind of just like plopping a ship with these parts on there and then recovering it, but that's boring. So let's see. So we can get some liquid fuel in there. We're going a little hard to start. I'm like, oh, successful launch. Let's go crazy. Yeah, let's just ditch that. And then we'll do 2. Well, I don't have radial decouplers, did I? Yeah, okay. So there's a little bit of risk to that. I've gotta give myself a goofy, like one of that on the bottom. We'll try it though. I'll give you like a 70% limiter. Let's get some fins on there. We're kind of just trying to get a little bit higher. I think I might have to up our mystery goose there. We did get our bay though, didn't we? Where's that? Yeah, that might be a thing. Let's see what kind of a pain that's going to be to get into and out of. Let's, I always put those the wrong way. There we go. Because I could just kind of slap the science goods inside here. I didn't think you had to do anything. There we go. Okay, I was about to say, I didn't think you had to do anything special to get it to kind of snap to the other parts of it, but then it's kind of snapping to the bottom. Alright, I don't think that's necessary yet. We'll play with that later when we actually have things to throw inside. For now, I don't think we're going to do more than 2. There's got to be a way to step back. There it is. Okay. So we've got our pressure. Let's flop these. Temperature. I'm not expecting to get a different atmosphere reading, but we haven't conducted these yet either, so I probably should click up to 4 times here. Let's redo that. Let's put it down here. I don't want it to get in the way of the hatch in case we do need to make an exit. We're not going to be at a point where I need to do drogue shoots, but it scares me. It scares me not to, so we're going to. So we'll throw those in. That's at 1,000. 2,500. I'm actually going to put those. The game knows better than I do. Let's ride that out. All right, so we've got our booster. We're going to separate. We need the engine to fire. It's going to be there. Got our drogue chutes, and then the main chute. Okay. It's already taller. Like, it makes me nervous. I'm like, uh-oh. You going to be able to do this? I think we're all right. I think we're in good shape. I don't think I'm going to pitch any either, because I don't even think I can. Yeah, I won't be able to. So we're still going straight up at this point. All right, we'll call it the Science Lance. Basics experiments for vertical launch. Before we crash things, as I realized that my description there muted me out. Before we launch that up, we've got it saved. Let's go take a look at contracts. I don't think there's anything else we need to look at yet. We don't have parts for that yet. Actually, does it start you with parts? Just out of curiosity. I don't think so. No, okay, because you can see all the same parts in both of them. Yeah. What an excellent memory. Confirm it as you see it. Yeah, so admin building, I think this is like, yeah, you run certain campaigns, either make money or get more science or, whatever else. Make sure it's right, sellouts. We don't want less science. Right now we're definitely more science because our craft are relatively cheap to start, so 1 science for each. That's where you're just buying science. I actually don't know what the reputation does, but I'm not going to mess with it. Okay, and then vessel recovery. Alright, we won't worry about the admin building. I don't know if I really messed with it at all in previous playthroughs. This is only, I think, my third time kind of doing a restart. We didn't care about that. We're maxed out on our science spent. So yeah, let's just go check what kind of contracts we can get. And of course you do your first like super quick contract and then you're just flooded with them. Okay, yeah, that's where we're going to end up doing when we get a space plane that's just kind of like an atmospheric plane, because then we can just fly over and grab those observations. Another site, we're not prepped for that quite yet. Another site. I think anytime it's focused is when you're going to have to be somewhere specific. Okay, haul into flight above Kerbal. So when you say a flight, I'm pretty sure all you need to do is have that part on it. The flea is the little guy though, and we've got the big one. So I do think we're going to... That's funny. 25. Ship saved. Orbit rescue, that's telling. Obviously I had somebody stuck out there. Minimus Minor. I don't remember doing any on land or moon rescue. That's cool. I didn't realize that it shows you your previous ships in here. So at some point, maybe we'll take advantage. But for now, this guy. We needed the flea. This is the hammer. Okay. Probably need to get some fins on the upper stage there too. I didn't even really consider that. Let's do that before we shred it to pieces here. Oh, is that all? That's all engine there, huh? Yeah, okay. So the fins would have to be up here, which is not a big deal. We probably still should do that. Gonna look a little crazy, but I can only imagine all our ships are probably going to. Let's grab our little guy. You think there would be a tiered, like, we'll go with scientific approach to each, you know, mission. Nah, we're just gonna wing it. Okay, that looks good. Let's go grab that contract. Looks good. Well, it doesn't look like garbage. I don't know if it looks good. Alright, have a flea on board and bring it up. Test the parachute. Activate through staging. Kerbal flying between 3 and 11,000 and 180 to 290. So I'm definitely going to have to crack that bad boy open, but let's throw that on there as well. We can only have 2 contracts, so that's not going to happen. Test the decoupler on escape. Okay. Yeah, we'll take that. We're going to crack that open for sure, because I will definitely forget that. So just having the booster and then having the parachute, and we'll check the criteria. I don't think it's to deploy, but we'll check it out. Staging, parachutes, secondary engine separation, and the booster. The booster's funny to me because I'm doing it for contract's sake. But it's not really going to do much for us, but it'll be alright. Here we go. Flight number 2. I have to remember we didn't get goo on the launch pad, but we did get a crew report on the launch pad. Going to tack some experiments too, so we don't end up having to click all over for those. Yeah, we didn't get goo here, right? It'll tell us if you get like no science for it. So goo here, we got a crew report. We've got the thermometer and the barometer, but we didn't have those before. So let's get that stuff. What pressure? Okay. And these will be kind of right after we launch, and I think we probably should tack 2 more just in case we do get into another step. I'm pretty sure you get like low atmosphere, middle atmosphere, upper atmosphere, if I'm not mistaken. We will give it a shot. World first milestones. Oh, okay. I thought this was still like we just broke some. Oh, well that one I guess we technically did. Let's trash that so we don't keep seeing the same stuff. First vessel, first vessel. Okay, keep that clear. And then this we're absolutely going to make sure... Ah, I didn't read the parameters. So we can't separate this. I don't think we're going to get to 390 before we have to ditch it. We'll see. Maybe we will. We can just redo... well, we'll end up with a failure. Regardless, we've got just the one boost. We'll do a crew report when we get up. Let's go. Yeah, that solid fuel is going to run out well before we get to 390. Keep our throttle up for the next engine. Take our crew report. Let's get the temperature, pressure, and then basically when we get, let's throw all that back because we know we're not leaving the atmosphere by any means. We're going to try and do this again. Yeah, okay. And I don't think we're going to need these, but once again, we'll try it. As soon as we kind of get to the peak up here, I really should have ditched all these parts. I just realized we're going to bring all that down, and that's not the smart way to do this. Yeah, we're in the third section now, so I'm going to try one more time. Upper atmosphere, yeah. So realistically, this is actually a pretty good run for science. Yeah, we can't take more than one, which is a bummer, but... we'll be setting records for sure. Speed record, altitude, land distance. Yeah, I just realized how canted we are. We'll probably land somewhere over here-ish. We're actually launching the opposite direction than we're like... we're headed that way. So at some point that's going to end over end here. We're starting to slow, so we're getting to our apoapsis. About to hit it. Let's keep this out. Activate part 3 stage. Yeah, we got that. So I think as long as we're at 11,000, I'm going to be a little wary how high we are for how fast we're going to get. So the drogues might have to come out before that. That is kind of cool though. We did manage to get a decent arc with quite a simple little ship. I don't know if this will give you... yeah, I should be more knowledgeable on this stuff for like what the max speed is and whatnot. But like I said, as soon as they go yellow, I think I need to just stage it. Jeb's going to enjoy his several minutes upside down here, it seems. I didn't pay attention, and actually I don't know how you can even monitor it, but to what the... yeah, that's kind of funny. It checked out, yeah, you hit the speed, but like, we don't even have it on anymore. I think I need to get the drogues out as soon as it'll let me. We'll start slowing a little bit too as we get into the thicker atmosphere here, but it's making me nervous. We're going to see the loss of our first Kerbal on our second mission. The no revert will be quickly repealed in that case. Yeah, those were going yellow, and the main was not going to be able to open. So at least that worked out. Jeb looks pretty bummed about that. I think we did all four, didn't we? Yeah, we did. Because we had another one we could do it, and it would be like, I think this is Kerbal grasslands when you're off the KSC there. That worked out quite well. We'll definitely keep that. We've got our parameters met for testing the parachute. Land distance record. That's funny. Only 3 kilometers. I don't know. No, it won't. Yeah, it won't give us that. So that means we could have been up to that speed. I don't really know why why we've laid out here. You know, we're heading in, like we're tilted that way, but yeah, I think we'll have to do where Jeb has a parachute on him, which I don't even know if he does. I don't remember how to look at his inventory. I think you could just click. Yeah, he does have a parachute. I think we might have to do a test where we see how fast we can get going before the drogues will open and before the main will open, because otherwise, you know, I imagine it's somewhere in this range, 390. It might be worth, oh, that's the boosters, 180. So it might be worth doing a very small rocket, unless we fail this right now, that you just pop the chute on your way up. I didn't stage the main chute either. I just realized how fast we're coming. Come on. Come on. There we go. Get to yakking and not paying attention to what's going on. Yeah, if we could do this on the way up, get to, you know, as soon as we hit 180, excuse me, 180 and hit 3,000 meters, then we just pop the chute. 3 kilometers rather. Alright, well at least nothing's broken, nothing blew up, and we should get a good amount of science from it. $50 science, we'll take it. Yeah, when it has Kerbal shores, you know, we could do that. Just kick to the 270, go west, and then do it all over again and grab a bunch more science. I don't know why. Okay, temperature and pressure was kind of the same from the pad, it seems. I don't think we got that as a high enough spot. I didn't pay attention to how much, you know, what the breakdown is of this. Looks like you recover everything though. Is there a loss anywhere on recovery? I know the recovery here is so much more because we're so close to the pad, but no experience. He already knows what he's doing. So we didn't successfully complete either of these, but it didn't fail. Does it give you a timeline? Okay, yeah, we get like a year. So I kind of wonder, 1 to 9,000, and 3K to 11K for the shoot. 180 to 290. I'm kind of wondering if we just strap some fleas on to try and grab these, because it's a good amount of money. 16K for that, 22 for that, and you get a little bit of science for it too. 5 science. We're already good to get the space plane bits, but I think we'll do that just to kind of play with parachute stuff just a little bit here. Otherwise I'm going to be scared the whole playthrough to have parachutes where they need to be. So let's go back to the old goo hopper. We don't need, so we're we've been recovering right where we're at, so we don't lose anything by just going for it. I have to remember when I'm typing, I'm muting myself out. Okay. Staging is important. I didn't drogue it, but that's okay. What is our criteria for the chute opening? I'm gonna put it at 10,000 if it'll let me. There we go. That's fine. because we're potentially going to be a lot slower than we are. I'm like planning all this out. I don't even know what we're going to get up to here, so let's kind of keep track of this. Okay, that's too fast for the chute. There we go. We satisfied that one. It's because we were so light. Now I should. Yeah, we're going to go too high, and then it's going to get too slow. And then I've popped that chute out. So I think that's going to prevent us. We'll see. We'll see where it ends up here. But I'm pretty sure that's not going to work out. I'm less worried about this one. And more happy that we got that one taken care of, because I don't really intend to use that small of boosters again. So to get a little bit of money and be able to move on for those is pretty good. I really didn't expect this to get this high. I don't know. Yeah, we're turning now, so let's snag a crew report. Upper atmosphere, okay. We'll grab a middle atmosphere one next time. I don't think I can influence this at this point, because I'd really like it to not pop until we get the most speed possible. Let's see if we can do like that and get into this range but be speeding up enough. Yeah, okay, we're speeding up pretty well there, so might be too fast actually. We'll see what happens. I'm tempted to just speed us up regardless, but I think it'll be alright. Yeah, because there is that. Oh. Astronaut complex upgrade required. Jeb? We can't have Jeb go out like that. This can't take place. We're going to watch it, but we can't do this. And if we have to revert it, we're going to revert. Oh, Jeb. We've already broken our promise. I thought that was going to happen. As soon as I was thinking about a no revert, I was like, you're not going to be able to do that. You can't. You can't let your Kerbals die. Like we'd run out of Kerbals in the first minutes. I don't know why, but I just all of a sudden had the desire to change the aesthetics of that. For some reason that looks better to me. Let's not even for reversion's sake, but let's go check out the astronaut complex and see what kind of upgrade we can do for that. I think you don't actually do that here though. Admin building maybe, because this is only for contracts. Well, this is just strategy. Okay, I didn't even click these that were grayed out, but that makes sense that we don't have the criteria to meet them. Oops, clicking off screen here. Tracking station is just for like, yeah, stuff in orbit and whatnot. Whenever we get satellites up. What is going on down here? Oh, I don't think I realized it did that, where you can already see those locations for the different missions and whatnot. That's good. Since I clicked off screen, I lost all the windows here. Let's get those back. There we go. This got me very curious now. It said EVA. Go to astronaut complex. And you can't like change anything here. We don't need to dismiss anybody. We already got them hired. I wonder if they have to get them laughing is funny. Pilots prevent assistance. Generator units. Scientist. Yeah, we should have had Bob doing this stuff on the launch pad, but it's not a big deal. I'm really confused on when it said you need an upgrade to the facility. Was that a right click out here? I remember that like the facilities get bigger and they have more stuff going on. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So it was an upgrade to can disembark only on Kerbal. Up to 12, can perform EVAs and place flags. That is a lot of money, but I think for safety's sake, that needs to happen. Plus I can get, well, let's do this. We've got our science for control, was it? Oh no. I was thinking about that wrong. It's 45, so we need 63 science to be able to get into here. Let's build a rocket that'll get us somewhat orbital. Here we have the radials. That's going to be necessary anyway to get to here. So let's crack into that. I don't care about construction yet. This stuff is going to be important for the larger stuff. That's funny, you gotta unlock to throw a flag on the side of your stuff. Basic science would be good to do too, though. You really only get the science junior. Obviously the battery packs are helpful, but I think, do we already have? No, we don't. We don't already have a battery. Okay. Well, let's go for the next orbital goal, suborbital goal, I guess, and then we'll worry about how we're going to spend our stuff after the fact. I do still have this shoot test to worry about. I think what we need to do yeah, I think that's going to do it for us. So I won't abandon this quite yet. I could throw the onion on it. I'm not driving it anyway. That's a lot smarter. Then we're not worried about murdering our boys. And watching in distress as they careen towards the ground. Oh, this isn't automated though, is it? No, no, no. Okay. This is still crew. What's the difference? Same charge. It's got monopropellant. This has an ablator in it. Okay, so that'll take reentry better, but alright, never mind. Let's just load it up. Don't save that. Give me shoot test back. Okay. Yeah, we'll just try to see how much we can reduce the old gas. Well, how long did it take us to murder Jeb? Less than 40 minutes. Sorry, Jeb. Really need to take a look at that before I do that too. Okay, get our criteria up. I forgot this hasn't been completed because we never stopped the mission. Yeah, we should be able to achieve that. Let's see what happens. The speed won't get it though at that, so we'll have to probably just go up to the there we go. Yeah, to get that speed to max out, we'll probably just have to do another one with the drogue chutes, and then put the fuel back to max, and then not limit the thrust, and then that should make it. Third playthrough of this game, you'd think I'd never played it before. We haven't even steered a ship yet. We're just like launch pad to nowhere. I don't know if we got a crew report in the lower atmosphere. We'll just keep kind of spamming the science until I remember. We can check it all up at the science, the research R&D center to see what experiments we have and haven't done. But I think we should be alright. I did it. I'm like sitting here trying to do a shoot test, and here I am blowing my own experiment just to make sure he doesn't die again. Alright, we will time warp though. Get back to the surface. Yeah, one more boring flight. We'll throw the drogues on it, and then check this contract off just to to plus up the cash a little bit, because I do think I need to upgrade the astronaut complex so we get that EVA capability. I think that's pretty important. It's funny, I kind of get a westward tendency though when nothing is different. Like this is a perfectly symmetrical craft. I didn't put any inputs in at all, you know, which would have obviously influenced that. Get this slowed back down here. There we go. Pick me up. Okay, so realistically, don't care about that. 1273 recovered. Let's go take a look at that too real quick. And Jeb's already an expert. We're going to throw the cash at that. Okay, so you lose about 42, well, you lose exactly 42 bucks, or whatever our currency is here on Kerbin. So, well worth it when we're doing the goofy little stuff there. Let's do this real quick. I don't anticipate using this craft a lot, but there's no reason to not do what we need to do there. Okay, we want the drogues on. Let's get 2. It always makes me nervous slapping stuff in front of that door, and then it's like, oh, crew hatch is blocked. We need to turn this back up. We're not going to kick it all the way, because it was close, if I remember. The drogues by themselves, because we no longer need the shoot test, so it doesn't matter if we get a little faster, and we'll crack the drogues when we're looking like we're in a safe spot, and we get the booster checked off. And then we're in a very large need of getting actually into space and doing some space stuff. See how we do on that. Let's go. Or space-like, space-ish, I guess we'll go with. There we go, that's accomplished. Got 2 contracts complete. That was the other one, right? Should be. Yeah, okay. Clear those out. Let's get Jeb back home post-haste. I know I could look this up. It's probably even in the parts thing. But I do need to familiarize myself with like max speeds and stuff like that, so I'm not just like risking Jeb's life every time we go outside. Half of me wants to have him jump out just for the sake of, you know, us knowing that we can do that. We'll wait till they go yellow and then we'll pop in here. This was a quick enough test if we need to revert. Also need to save the game. We have not done that yet. 200 meters per second. Everything's still white over there. Well, I mean, we're low enough now that I don't really care. Yeah, I was gonna say, regardless, we'd pop them anyway. All right, so for that low of altitude, though, that wasn't a solid test for us to figure that portion of it out, but I'd even venture to say you probably would be safe. Maybe not. The engine would probably blow up, so you probably wouldn't recover everything at 28 meters per second, but no reason to experiment to that level. I'd like to drive over there and see what that is. I know some things had been added since the last time I had done my playthrough. I don't think that was. It's probably like a little sign or graphic glitch, and I'm like, what is that over there? But I do know there were some additions, some extra parts, and some things like that. Crack the last chute. Get on home. Yeah, I'm tempted. Well, I don't have the science yet. I need to get that rover sooner than later because I don't want to waste a lot of time. Let's get you an EVA real quick. Do an EVA report. Get back in there. pretty sure we've already crew reported from here, but we did not. Bring it on home. I don't want to waste a lot of time doing like suborbital stuff and running experiments after experiments when I can just like kind of get to the good stuff, if you will, quicker. And then that kind of leaves us open for options and stuff like that. What are you? What are you doing over there? Can I zoom over and check you? Almost, not quite. The mystery continues. The irrelevant... I'm clicking out of the screen again. The irrelevant, nobody cares mystery. Alright, that being said, I believe we're still... yeah, just a little science short. I don't need to get crazy yet, because we literally haven't even used the fuel tanks we have at our disposal. Okay, so let's take our shoot test, get him out of the way. Let's see. What are we trying to accomplish this time? I think we're just gonna go for suborbital and not getting too crazy. So let's take our science and do a little redecorating on him. Did we get bigger tanks yet? No, we still just have those tanks. So that's fine. We'll just kind of slap probably just one more. Let's do two more. Oops. Get our symmetry back in here. Looking cool is extremely important. Alright, tack that back down to 2. We'll get our larger boosters on. I like too how I've not like zero testing. Just what has even happened there? Just go right for the gold. Don't worry about you know, do the little boosters first because you don't know what you're doing. Nope. It's time to go. We also don't have... oh, we do. Okay, good. I was gonna say those look ridiculous. This is just for the end, right? Yeah. I mean, a winglet is literally on the tips of planes for fuel savings to reduce wingtip vortices, because everybody goes to watch streams for nerd information. So yeah, this won't have any control surfaces on them. Okay. I mean, I think that's kind of it. We need those to crack in. These are going to be separate. We should have done like science dart, because now this is more of like a science lance. But we'll I wish I was more creative with my naming conventions, but once again, that has H in it, so I've been muted. Looking at it, we're staged properly. We reduced the thrust here so we don't blast this thing craziness. I'm not worried about, I was looking at experiments, I'm not worried about having that many goo canisters, because that's going to be something we'll just like kind of spam the crap out of, really, when we, especially when we get a science plane. So I think, does this gimbal? It does. So that'll get us to be able to lay it over a little bit. I do wonder if I'm going to lean it over to the east, which is to the right of our craft here. Yeah, this aerodynamically isn't great, but it's fine. It's fine. Okay, we've got suborbiter. We're staged. Let's go check for contracts, just in case. I do think that we will get into some type of... I mean, we got to what? Like 40k? So we might be able to break atmosphere, at least momentarily anyway. These are always funny to test the engines. Those are always, they don't pay much, but they're always great contracts because activate the part through staging. You don't even have to leave the launch pad. Like you could, you know, structurally tack yourself down to it and just crack them open. Sometimes though that'll be, you know, certain altitudes and stuff. But it says at the launch site. Anyway. Focus on observation. That's all that stuff that was off the coast. Let's grab... We've got 0 active. So let's grab escape the atmosphere. We know this is going to take place. And plus we get 11k of monies right off the bat. Orbit we're not ready for. That's not something that we'll grab. So just in case we get some other goofy contracts, we'll hang on to those. Decouplers and escape trajectory. That's post orbit, so we don't need that either. Okay. We definitely won't be at that altitude, not with the booster still on anyway, so those will be kicked off. I don't know if it satisfies those when you have them on the craft before you stage them. It's kind of interesting, it's a suborbital trajectory, but 150 to 160k is like twice outside the atmosphere. Anyway, we've got the one. It was just leave the atmosphere? Yeah, escape the atmosphere. So 70k and above, and that's the goal for this flight anyway. So let's go hit it. We'll do the same thing. We'll tack all the science off to the side, and then just kind of as we kind of go upper atmosphere into outer space, we'll crack off all those science experiments, and then that should get us what we need to come back down, make our little rover, and then just go science the bejesus out of this whole space center. We've looked at this multiple times. Let's just go make it happen. And actually, you have to save out here. I don't think you can save in any of the buildings. Let's give her a save. And we'll just overwrite that. So we're going to be a little save scummy with being able to revert. I'll repeal my self-inflicted rule there. But we will just do 1 save a day. So if something catastrophic happens post-revert, then at least we're stuck with it. So that won't make me feel quite so guilty about promising challenges that I've already repealed. That's the best part about making the rules. Okay, throttled up. Engines are ready. Let's tack down... don't think the mystery goose not hard to hit, so those will be okay. I don't think we had done all these on the launch pad, but when we get the rover, that's something, you know, for sure that will be around to be able to grab, because we'll have our scientist do that good stuff so he can get out and reset everything, so it won't be any loss. Alright, a little bit cluttered. But if I don't do it, I'll be scrambling to click on them as we're flying around, and it won't do us any good anyway. Alright, messy science screen. Plan is to go into orbit with the goal of escaping the atmosphere. Wish Jeb luck. I got excited and clicked it already. Clicked it over to the east. Yeah, we're really, even with limiting the thrust on those, we really didn't need to crack into it that much. I probably didn't even need the main engine, realistically, but that's the only thing that'll kind of lay us over. So yeah, we could have limited that thrust quite a bit more, and that would have benefited us a lot more. We're not even trying to circularize or anything, so I definitely should have ditched everything. Oh man, I just realized that too. That was not smart. Just ditching those. Oop. Come on, you can do it. Let's do... Nope. Okay, we already have that. And I think we already have pressure here as well, yeah. What is our apoapsis looking like? Oh, tons, plenty. Fantastic, okay. I think what I'm gonna do is, no I'm not. I was gonna say, we'll attempt to kind of retract some of that thrust on our way out there. There we go, we've left the atmosphere. 8 science for temp, 12 science for pressure. Yeah, we definitely could have reduced weight quite a bit. Less fuel there. Let's see if we can have Jeb kind of... Well, that won't help. We'll have to actually be in our prograde orientation, which will be about here-ish on the other side, and then burn there. That's not going to do much except kind of reduce our weight a little bit. I don't know if this is going to do us any good up here. In space near Kerbin, I don't think... Well, we haven't done a crew report here either. I'm glad I looked at it. Oh, I think you have to get out and then get back in to be able to see that, or come out here and hit them. That's fine. I think these are duplicates because we haven't actually retrieved them yet. But we'll crack them out of there just because we won't need that many more. Okay, VSI still has us in the positive. We way overthrusted. So let's just go ahead and time warp past that. No need to get crazy here. There's rounding apoapsis. I'm going to keep us in this same kind of trajectory for a moment. Like I said, we haven't even slowed all the way down yet. We're still climbing. Maybe I should have taken some of those other contracts for heading out. I didn't expect us to get out that much, so we might have actually been able to get into an orbit with this. We'll try it. We'll try it next time. Okay, escape the atmosphere. Altitude record, reach space, land distance record. We don't have a heat shield either. This is potentially going to be catastrophic, and I totally forgot about mystery goo. I'll just kind of blast that to slow us down a little bit. We're going to be extremely heavy too. So no heat shield, very heavy. We'll see. We might be worse off than I thought. We might be reverting this just to fix those mistakes anyway. This is obviously going to nose over as soon as we start getting into the atmosphere. Thank you for the autosave game. You know what's bound to happen here. We'll speed it all along as we head back down. And then nervously await the building of heat that's bound to happen here. I can't believe I forgot to stage all of this away. At least to here. You know, we would have kept the experiments, but... I mean, I can believe it. We've probably done worse things in this game, for sure. The length of this is almost certainly, as soon as we get into a good amount of resistance, it's almost certainly going to flip this end over end. Yeah, I don't think we have anything to gain science-wise. We're going to keep trying it, though, just for sake of doing so. Yeah, look at my drogues are not even going to. So it's going to have to flip upside down. Hopefully we don't lose any of the science stuff. We've done both of those. Oh man, we might lose the module. Yeah, some stuff is going to blow up here. This is a reversion flight for sure. In spectacular fashion. This is what you get for not staging and putting a heat shield on. Now, we did just lose fins. We lost the mystery goo. So yeah, I think, although that's survivable. No, you know what? We made our bed. We're going to sleep in it. We got some stuff out of it. Yeah, that's right. We already took that. Over Kerbin's water. We haven't done that yet. Okay. Pressure scan doesn't do anything for us. And then we'll get one from in the water. So it's not a complete loss. It wasn't very successful, but we'll take it. We'll take it. Except if you blow up because you forgot your chute. Oh man, and what did we learn? What did we need to change? We need a heat shield on the bottom. Or just to blast the bit off. Now, there's a bunch of stuff we can do to this, right? We can probably ditch 2. That's a lot more reasonable. That can actually be limited a lot more. I don't think we'll fire the main engine up either. That was just too much thrust unnecessarily. Against my better judgment, I'm going to move these. I kind of want to test this real quick to see if that's too intrusive on the door. I think it's going to be. I just do 3 of those, so that's guaranteed not to interfere. I don't think the drogues there will be an issue, but just in case, let's pop those out of the way. Those were only 2. Plus, it just looks better. Okay, real quick launch pad test for that. Yeah, okay, let's remove that. There we go. Doesn't that make you feel smarter? Not purposely destroying your stuff. I don't think I need the drogue for doing all that. I think that's overkill. But we have it, so I don't know why I'm not going to use it. I know it's heavier, but why do you look crazy? Why can't you? There we go. Alright, main engines, boosters, separate. Real quick launchpad test. Can we get out without obstruction? This is why it's super important for the R&D center to tell you what you have and haven't done. Okay, he can get out. Get back in. Well, actually, there's no reason to revert. We've got our test. Let's waste everybody's time doing what we could have already done, should have already done. Let's get our goos. Because of your hubris, your failure shipbuilding hubris. Yeah, it's fine. Look, he'll splash into the water. Let's be honest with each other. That is bound to not be the last time that we make said mistakes. Okay, we've got those 2, so it's just these guys by themselves. Jem, I'm sorry, buddy. It's like it never happened. It's like it never happened. Yo, what's up, man? How you doing? Okay, are we staged as discussed? We are. We're going to go main booster off. I might need to throttle it up a little bit just to get some directional control, but we'll see what happens. Here we go. Take 2. I think that... Yeah, okay, I was about to say, I think that should wipe your contract. That'd be really funny if you could just revert back and do all this crazy nonsense. Off we go. So we have the other one active. Yeah, I think I need to throttle it up just so it keeps us in place there. Because it's already tilting us around, and the control is actually quite crazy. I don't really know what's going on there. I'm kind of spinning around for no reason. I'm going to let it do its thing, because I don't want to try and control this and then potentially make it worse. Alright, we're at a 30k apoapsis. It's pretty solid with just that. Ditch our boosters. Make sure we're gaining enough altitude here. Not a lot of delta V left though. Sights it up. Don't need temperature. Don't need pressure. So we just need that when we get into the out of the atmosphere rather. I don't even know if you can do control nodes at this point yet. Yeah, no, you can't. So what we're going to have to do is as soon as we break atmosphere, just kind of do a manual, a point and burn. That's a little bit more controllable now. Still a little drift, which is, I get it, right? We don't have stability yet, but Jeb should be a little better at controlling it. Oh well, we can let it kind of do its thing and flail around a little bit. As long as we stay above 70, we'll be alright. So I have a lot better control outside of the atmosphere. Let's prevent drag though. I'm just not going to do whatever it wants. That would be a little silly. Alpha, how you doing, man? I saw '07 and all I can think about was Foxhole. I was like, is this a Foxhole guy? Is that where he's come from? Alright, control that a little bit. We're not losing any off the... Well, we are, but not much. So friction is basically gone. We kind of need to do simultaneously. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Let's just throttle up at the prograde here. Burn the rest of this gas off, and then we'll ditch this lower stage. There we go. We should, yeah, we're still suborbital. We can ditch lower stage now. That'll be on a trajectory anyway. And then, easy there, Jeb. Don't get crazy. Let's grab some upper atmosphere stuff. We'll grab the other goo. Hang on to that. I don't think the rest of these are going to do us any good because we would have had them on the way down, but that's alright. I don't think we crew reported space because we unceremoniously splashed ourselves into oblivion last time around. Alright, and I think that's going to be it. We just enjoy the ride. Apple apps of 86. This is much more in line with what I intended to do the first time, so that's good. Good that we're here. We'll manage to get back in, and then I hope we don't lose the experiments. That'll be the only other reason for reversion at this point, unless we do something totally crazy, but I think we'll be alright. My favorite thing, and I remembered it doing the tutorial missions, kind of like the training bit. Yeah, you just like, is to get SAS. Like, that's the #1 thing. I mean, realistically, when you're flying a helicopter for the first time, that's still the same kind of thing you're thinking. You're just stirring the soup here the whole time. Like, oh, please give me in a helicopter that doesn't do this. Alright, we're going to get it into as pleasant as possible spin here. So we don't all just like, as I say that, it's worse than it ever was. He'll sort himself out. Jeb knows what he's doing. Alright, we're heading back down. Space near Kerbin. I thought we had already acquired this stuff, but I just did two barometers. I think we already have this. Let's leave a barometer up. Because, yeah, we'll leave them both up. I think it, just because it's the different one, it doesn't recognize that you already have that report. So we'll leave that in there. Okay, we are entering back in. Yeah, now, well, we're not that heavy though. We're fast, but we're not that heavy, and we weren't that high, so it should be alright. I still want to drogue shoot us though, so those go when they're ready for it. I usually like to ditch the shield too, kind of go upside down, invert the craft, ditch the shield out. That's funny, there's our boosters just coming down with us as well. Just so that makes you quite a bit lighter. Taking the ablator, I guess, percentage, weight, thickness down is also a good way to reduce weight on that. So I probably should have done that as well. But, like I said, several years ago, having gone through all this stuff, it's easy to be a big dummy, and also very easy to blame the time frame on not doing as well as we could be. There we go, our good shape. Keep us relatively safe. I don't know if the barometers are going to be out of harm's way here, but we're already slowing down, so it's all right. We probably didn't even need the heat shield with how much lighter we were in the stack, but I feel like that's just good practice to keep those going as such. All right, drogues are half out doing their thing. We'll let time speed up a little bit so we're not staring at a slow drift. Everybody likes hanging upside down. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Oh, the drogues are on the below center of mass. That makes sense. And then it'll flip him. At least I remembered the main chute. I feel like that's the most important thing at this point. I think we have that, but again, we'll kind of review all this when we're scraping the bottom of the barrel for science. Yeah, I think that was a redo. Okay, good. Then we have temperature and pressure to take as soon as we land in the water. Get that out of there. Just slows us down a little bit. Because the goos are spent, right? Yep. Bang! Because I did that at 4 times speed. So good to know. 4 times speed is still safe as long as you're slow enough. Sometimes physics gets a little crazy. Let's log pressure. Log temp. Again, I think I did that on purpose, so that's okay. And if not, we can always just grab whatever measure it was. And I don't necessarily want to EVA him because it'll flip, I think, based on the weight. So we can get water stuff later. We can land a space plane kind of Sully style and be able to get out and do our stuff. All right. Blabbing enough. Let's recover and see how we're doing science-wise. If we get enough science for a rover to go do all the experiments running around, that's what we'll do next. Oh, okay. What was our big science hitter here? There had to have been one that was like, oh, that's our total. Good job, buddy. I'm like, what? We got 120 science. 65, though, still pretty significant off of that. Pressure scan was good. Goo. So the space stuff obviously makes sense. I think you get it again when you take it from orbit. And obviously that one, you know, we're kind of out of the realm at this point. If these are the kind of missions we keep doing where recovered parts are going to give us a bunch of money. But looking pretty healthy on that front as well. Now we need to do more parts at some point. Action groups will be very big when we start doing like solar panels and things like that. I don't know. Somewhere. Surface samples we don't need yet. Resource transfer, we don't need to do that. I didn't realize that you are limited by your science too, so you can't just keep like racking up the experiments. Research science limit is 100, and here I am sitting at 121. So it's kind of interesting. Oh, maybe the science you gain. Read the thing. It might explain to you what it is. Alright, so the plan was to grab space plane stuff to be able to strap a bunch of experiments on it. We do have, yeah, the fuselages come with it. We can put a jet engine on it. Make us a goofy little plane. This is when it gets dangerous, when I start making planes and trying to see if I can fly stupid little stuff around. There has been rotors was added since I last played. I know there's, yeah, I was about to say, I know there's like whole aerodynamic bits. Yeah, I don't think these were in the game the last time I played. So when we start getting into like, I don't know, me making little gyrocopters and stuff, that's just going to be a whole lot of nonsense taking place. Okay, we talked about doing this. Let's do it. Can we get, what are we going to benefit more from? So the inlines are better for stability. That's kind of all you, these are better for control, plus we can use them on the planes. So are these. Because these gimbal, right? Yeah, equipped with pivots. I think we need to do this one just for sake of controllability, since, I mean, we already were like kind of worming out of control there. I don't think I care about structural quite yet. There's some decouplers though that come in there. Those are the bigger ones though, aren't they? Alright, let's worry about it later. I think we don't need to concern ourselves with it right now. I do need to grab this though, because I can put the Science Junior right in the rover and just start sciencing the crap out of this place. So let's do that. Alright, quit looking at the future. It's time to stay in the here and now. We're going to have to use the crappy wheels because I think these, the rover wheels, maybe a little bit later. I like how as soon as I say quit looking at the future, you immediately start poking around at other stuff. Alright, let's go over to the spaceplane hangar. Now I think what I should have done is peeped on it real quick. I think we might be part limited 30. We should be okay. We'll check it out though. Alright, I swear this is the last time I'm going to pop out of the spaceplane hangar for the next 30 seconds here since I keep going in and out. Let's do another save. I don't remember what I named it. Was that it? Yes, okay. Let's probably copy that next time since I'll do that exact same song and dance. Okay, now, science rover. That's extremely creepy. I don't know what it is. Like, nothing about any of those words separately makes it uncomfortable to look at, but voice crack. But all those together was just like, ugh. Why? Alright, now. Because those caster, these don't. We don't need, like, that's so cute. We don't need a ton. The biggest thing we need is, like, space for the experiments themselves. And I don't really need wings, but I need stability. Now, I don't remember. Can you take... I think so, right? I think you can take this and then... Not the move, rotate, and then you can kind of make like a crossbar. I think this stays together. We're gonna find out. To a place. I don't think I'll be able to link those together, huh? Alright, bear with me as we refresh memories and such. Because I don't think you can do like a symmetry thing. I could just move this. And then let's pretty that seam up a little better there. Might be as good as we're going to get, actually. That's in the kind of the peak of it. That's fine. Symmetrical enough. I don't think you get like elbows or anything like that, though, to make that look a little better. Also might not have the stuff that we really need. I also don't have ladders yet. So I have to remember that to reset experiments. Maybe we'll keep them on the bottom here. Well, I mean, that's just going to look cool, so. I don't like how it's like kind of goofy off to the side there. Yeah. Yeah. Alright. I don't want to spend a ton of time just kind of like messing around with these. Yeah, it's weird how it won't snap to the outside, like as intended anymore. Yeah, like, you know, this. Payload will have storage compartment. Because this, you know, this we could put the experiments in, right? But my thought is we're going to have our scientists, which I better do that before I forget. Crew. Yeah, were you thinking throw the experiments in the payload and have the doors kind of underneath? Is that what you were thinking? That's kind of what I thought about when I saw it, but we need our old Bobby boy. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll take a look. We'll see what's what. Because ideally... Which side is the bottom side? I guess he'd be able to reach it anyway, potentially, but just in case, let's crack it off that way. And I can just leave these up. Oh, I forgot about Science Junior already. It's a big boy. Just because the payload opens downward, I think it'll be cool to everything. It doesn't matter if it functions or if I know what I'm doing. It matters how cool it looks. Okay. Symmetry off. Slap that on the backside. Get to goo. Yeah, I agree. That was much better. I was just going to sling it along the bottom side of the belly here. My only other concern is I'm probably going to have to drop the gear a little bit. I don't know if he's going to be able to jump, you know, and grab the door. It might be alright. We'll see what happens. Do some trial runs. Save our progress so far. Almost like Bombay doors. Just dropping science all over Kerbin. Come and get it. I'm leafleting you to let you know how much science you're going to get. Okay, I'm trying to... You seem like a Kerbal knowledgeable fella. Or lady, excuse me for assuming. I don't need this yet, if I'm not mistaken. I can just grab the experiments, reset them, and then go back into the cockpit, and it'll store in there. I don't think I need the storage unit. I'm pretty sure that's correct. But I have made up things and been very incorrect before. Yeah, my thought, well, I guess I could intake there. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I really wish this would latch onto it. That's the only thing that I'm like, click, click. Come on, you can do it. I don't know if like, I feel like doing it this way, since it's not snapped together, if I just like force it to be, it's not gonna do what it's supposed to do. Like, it's gonna be a mess. Like, that looks somewhat intentional, but I don't think that's actually gonna work. I do want to give myself a terrible, disgusting looking try here. Yeah, it's expecting it to be vertical, so that's not even gonna let me attach wheels the way I want to. I don't think this is gonna work, but I want to see even if just these will stay where they're supposed to, or if that's literally just gonna pop off and all fall into bits on the runway here. Okay, we get a little jiggling going on, but, and obviously it has no capability whatsoever to go yet, but Bob, can you get out? I don't think you're going to be able to reach that. Remove data, restore. Okay, fantastic. Having that over here, the Bombay door method is probably what's going to save this. Let's just grab all of this and then make sure we can collect. That's right, you don't need to reset that, just the goo and the science junior. Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. And we do an action group for all that. And recover. Boom. Free science, baby. Courtesy of Al. I don't know if Alpha Alpha Lima is it's the goal is Al, but that's what I see, unfortunately. I didn't crew report, but again, there'll be time. Literally time for experimentation. Alright, pretty happy with where we're at. What do we got? What are we looking at? It's already been an hour and a half. We got 30 minutes. We'll try to clean this bad boy up, and we've got to take her out for a little scouting around. It doesn't need to be as heavy as it's going to be either. So let's crank, yeah, symmetry, that's right. Let's crank all these down. I don't even know if that's going to be considered the same tank either, which is going to be interesting to see. But I don't want it to be like excessively big, even though that's exactly what it is, obviously. But at the same time, I want to be able to kind of go relatively fast and then, you know, kind of kick the brakes on and it not immediately flip over or do something goofy. So Did I? Oh, goodness. I was just thinking, I was like, did I get the intakes? Or was I looking at that? Okay, we did, but it's for the tiny boys. So time to make it look super ridiculous. Oh, that's unfortunate. Probably could have built... Because do we have the cowling yet? Not the cowling, but like the reducer that kind of changes sizes? No, I don't think we do yet. Yeah, this, well, we could double up. That's what we'll do. I still don't know if this is going to be enough to move it. We might have to take the fuel down by like such a crazy extent. Where is the... It's very strange to me that an air intake is going to be on aerodynamic, but I mean, I guess, sure. Who am I to argue? This thing looks ridiculous. Oh. You didn't want to play? There we go. There's the makings of something that doesn't look so garbage here. It's just unfortunate that that's not what we've got. That doesn't look as good, and that little line is gonna drive me crazy. I don't, can you... It'd be cool if you could step that in. Like pixel step it, because that gap bothers me. Does it bother me more than looking at this shimmery line here? I don't know. Maybe, because that kind of looks cool. It's like Sawtooth. You can. Can you provide spoilers? Oh! Is that it? Did I find it? No, I didn't. Offset. Local. Absolute. Okay, there's going to be something I gotta hold, maybe. Mouse wheel does nothing. Yeah, I give. If you can share, I will gladly accept said sharing. As expected, as I fumble around and don't successfully do it. Reroute. Section 2. Hit the octagon. Oh, snapping. Psh, of course. Of course it's snapping. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Solid. Solid. Yeah, that's awesome. I appreciate that. You know, I accidentally will hit C all the time and, like, you know, regular rockets and unsnap stuff, and I'm like, oh, why would you ever want to use that? I think I found out. Well, I didn't find out. I desperately pleaded for help, and you were kind enough to oblige. I'd love for that to be somewhere sensible. Once again, I think this is going to be... That's not the best spot, obviously, for gear to be. And now we've learned new tricks. It's learning. It's learning. Okay, it's ugly, it's gross, but it should be pretty stable. I don't know if these engines are gonna do what they need to do. If it's just rubber, double it. Double gear, double engines. All suggestions welcome. Put the brakes on. B is brakes, right? Yeah, B is brakes. The gear? Yeah, good call. I know there's better gear too, but I know the little tiny, like... Oh, you have to upgrade the runway. I forgot about that too. The little tiny roll-offs like this, like sometimes is enough to make it get all crazy, and I know these are garbage gear. Alright, let's throw... I don't remember what the button is for throwing the brakes on, so we'll click it for now until I play with that. Okay, we've got enough to move at least. And that center wheel caster enough. I'm just curious to see how much we can get away with as we kind of roam around the Space Center here. Alright. Enough to do the job, anyway. I just don't want to really, like, you know, ramp off these bits and pieces here. We'll go at 20 and see what we can do. No breakage. I'll take it. Well. I'm sorry, Bob. I'm sorry for that. So let's keep it at 20, huh? No faster than 20. Let's see what we can do with gear doubling, though. Yeah, that rover gear would ideally be the thing. Not so much worried about functionality for this sake, but just so it doesn't look... I mean, it already looks like garbage, but... maybe not like crazy garbage. I think we need to... like, the design itself obviously is crap, but I think we also need to take the weight down everywhere. I really don't need that much to get it. This is still excessive, but I'd like to not have to, like, go stop the flight all the time. I don't need that either. Alright, I mean, that's more than enough. That's alright. Just so we can get it going and get it slowing simultaneously once again. Okay, I know we took... you need to put a battery on there. I think it'll be okay. Again, you're probably hinting at something that I'm forgetting. My understanding, though, is that the jets will provide enough power for it. So I think it's okay. Watch, as soon as I run my first experiments, it's going to be like, no, it's not okay. You're out of juice already. I think this would have been... I think this is where I need that that science experiment storage. I'm not sure about that. Let's do a real quick test, because we've already done this. Yeah, we'll take the reduced science. Nobody, I just started playing. I'm throwing ideas at you. Still new to this game. Well, you're leaps and bounds ahead of me, man. I have let me check. Let me check. I have 186 hours, but those 186 hours are years old. So it has been some time since I have been any means of knowledgeable in this game. But I had done a Before the Window Closes, which is my little like demo series for a game that I play for 2 hours, and then decide whether we keep it or not. And it's a good game. It's a good simulation game. But really what it did was kind of get me excited to play this again. I don't really want to... I wish you could pin just crew report on there. Alright, let's get you out and ready. Don't ever release. I kind of want to try it, but I don't think he can... We're going to try it. We already did that. Do I have to pin and not pin? We did keep it, right? Okay, that was the problem. If I don't roll through all these, I'm going to forget which ones I did and didn't do. Restore. Collect. And get yourself back in. We're going to leave those doors. I think maybe we actually can close that. I'm not sure if we'll have access to all the good stuff, but anyway. Let's try this again. It helps if you take the brakes off. Skidoo! Yeah, we'll roll down the runway on this one a little bit, rather than just fly off the side. We don't need that service bay, they're still there. Bob doesn't look too sure about this. What's our... Okay, yeah, that's really what I wanted. Was I didn't I didn't have symmetry on for the right landing gear there. What I really wanted to make sure was I could take turns and it wouldn't be like trying to flip over all the time. That was the reason for the ridiculous base. So at least so far it's worked out. Yeah, I don't think we'll be able to crew report. Yeah. So actually, let's since we're already here, let's go ahead and do these all again. and just keep it, and then we'll recover vessel. And then I'm going to throw one of those science storage units in this bad boy, and then we should be able to store the crew reports. GG, you're missing a wheel. It would have been really funny. 20 science out of that one spot, so that's pretty solid. Would have been really funny if I didn't notice it until it was flipping in that direction, specifically because of that. And I don't think you get any, like, take a reading of this or that. Oh, I love the VIP ferry missions. Where does he want to go, even? Hudbur. Let's go see where he's wanting to go. I'm just curious at this one. Obviously, we are not in a place to do that, but you do get traveling missions. Yeah, I remember take me here to here type stuff, but I think it's like, isn't it like pick me up out of a craft type things? Which obviously I'm in no position to even be thinking about. I don't remember if it shows you or not. Not important. Don't want to get too big for the britches. Okay, so the only thing we needed to adjust with that was put another wheel on. That sounds like a fantastic idea. Get them gears on there. So the front guy. It'd also be nice if I could get that kind of placed relative to the other one. I suppose a little higher is going to be better, so if it does happen to kind of start rocking, and we almost should have like it kicked out a little bit to kind of help if we start to roll, but unnecessary. Too much. All right, let's crack this bay open. I just got to orbit the Mun. Mun landings were the things that I would mess around with the most, that I remember. I was just popping through my saves from the last playthrough not too long ago here, maybe 45 minutes ago, and was seeing all the Mun saves I had. It was like a Mun recovery and a Mun landing, and I know I was trying to do like a space station, or a base rather, at one point. I don't know if I ever actually accomplished that. Okay, I can still reach that stuff. My theory is that the crew reports will stash in there. I kind of think that's, you know, if you reach capacity in the cockpit and stuff. All right, I think that's really all we needed. Can't seem to design a lander to stay upright. The biggest thing that I remember, and take this with a grain of salt, right? Like, you've already helped me more than I'm going to be able to give you any type of advice, but was to get good at rendezvousing and then leave your main ship in orbit and then just send a lander down, so they're not so tall, so you're not, you know, storing all the... Well, that was exciting. I'm glad, not that it matters in this game, but I'm glad that doesn't, I don't have retractable gear on this bad boy. Okay, we already have everything there. Brakes off. And go for it. Yeah, so you want to bring a lander down that's relatively light and small, so it's like bottom heavy. You know, it won't be ready to tip over all the time on you. Again, grain of salt, but that's what I happen to remember anyway. I'm going back and watching. I know I used to watch Scott Manley all the time on YouTube, and then Matt Lown. Would watch it all the time as well, and I picked up Matt Lown again. I don't know if Scott's done a Kerbal video anytime recently. The stuff I see from him is all the stuff I watched, which is like 9 and 10 years ago. But Matt's been making recent stuff, which kind of surprised me. Let's zoom out just so we don't listen to jet engines constantly. Okay, start throwing the brakes on here in a second. Doop. Catch a little air in the process. I did basic action groups. I'm probably going to do some basic action groups. I'm going to do it right now. Number one, two reasons. I should have gotten the science first. But the two reasons were Then we could shut the engines off and back on and not have to listen to idling jet engines all the time. Have you used any mods? I actually have not. You know, we're nearing 200 hours, and like I had enough fun and enjoyed the aesthetics. I know there's some really good ones, like the Reentry stuff. There's like the volumetric clouds. I know, like, I couldn't even name off the top of my head the amount of like awesome mods there are out there for it. So that might be some stuff, maybe during this series, action groups, that I look into doing, is to kind of mod, because that's an area I've never touched before. But I really, really doubt, especially with how kind of like rudimentary I am again. What is switch? Oh, over to the vehicle assembly. I don't think I got the action groups unlocked yet. You know, kind of this series is probably going to result in there being more than enough stuff for me to do. Basic action groups. 220, that's like all my cash. Okay, we won't do that. What we can do is just shut the engines down manually. I probably don't even need all 4 of them. There's probably going to be more than enough for me to do just playing through this again, as fresh as I feel to the series again. But if there's anything that's like, I don't know, feels old or stale, yeah, I'll check some mods out for sure. I like visual mods. Yeah, I get it. When I see the clouds and stuff like that, again, Matt Lowndes' videos, when he's a big mod guy, because, you know, this is like what his channel is all about, is this game specifically. It looks really good. Even the Reentry visual stuff looks really good as well. All right, enough back and forth. This is not going to be, truth be told, a very exciting portion, as we're just going to go back and forth, collect some science goodies. This is a little excessive to zoom out, so let's not do that. But yeah, those action groups will be really helpful. I can kind of keep it in the stage, but shut down engines with a number 2 and then kick them back on with a number 1, and we won't have to go crazy zoomed out. And I think I'm looking at 13 minutes, give or take, before the end of the stream here. We've got to go see what this is. That's it's going to drive me absolutely crazy. It's going to be like a dumpster or a nothing. Alright, wheel over here. We didn't grab this as intended. Do need to keep in mind how much surface area I really do need. Let's shut down the bottom 2. There we go. At least cut the annoying noises in half. I didn't set up all our pins, so let's get that going again. Also crack it open, we don't need you. Can I focus, control from here? That doesn't change the focus though, huh? There we go. It's a little obnoxious, but I feel like a mechanic that's like can't get positioned right under the car the way he wants to. Let's get... Oh, it's Jeb. Crap. Alright, well, we can do the first round over here. Looks like we already did. Not a big deal. I don't know when that reverted off of Bob, but... yeah, we already did that. Yeah, it's the other spot that we hadn't been. So at least we'll be able to test the crew report. Let's grab that. Oh, okay. Oh, that's still leftovers. I was like, what do you want? Go away. Jeb's not going to be able to reset, but at least we can see. Can I tell him? No. Okay. Crew reports is going to have to be a thing that we'll have to do several times to get all that done. Before we start the engines, let's get those pins down so we don't have to listen to that. 3.8 science, thanks Jeb. I didn't change the crew out, so it's very curious that it didn't stay with Bob, but get in there, Bob. Do your job. Alright, last jumping around, just for that. Need to make sure we finish this before we call it a night tonight. Alright, let's do all this stuff. You still moving? I think you're still rolling. Alright. Keep on rolling. I wonder how much of, you know, you get like Drowning Pool or Limp Bizkit. And I wonder how much of it is people like remembering it because of nostalgia or just because of how ridiculous of songs in a band that is. All right, let's fire this bad boy up. Little stage, but we'll do the same thing. We'll shut these down. I don't think... Probably should have just taken them out of there and put them in the middle. What a stupid looking craft this is, but she'll do the trick. Oh. Let's just go ahead and head this way first. There we go. Peace and quiet. Minus the quiet. More peace and less noise. Gets the job done indeed. Yeah, I'm not super creative, which is always a bummer in like any type of building. You know, create your own listed item here for the gameplay. This might be a little too fast. I might have Oop. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Let's not do that again. And that's why you double up on wheels. Yeah, 27 for ramping up stuff is a little much. But my creativity is relatively lacking in terms of like making things functional and aesthetically pleasing. Like if it's a game where it's like, if you tack a bunch of crap on, you can, you know, do this and that. And I'm like, yeah, I can tack a bunch of crap on. It's not necessarily going to look good. Oh, we didn't put an antenna on. We would have been able to do a crew report after a crew report. I'm not going to keep reverting though. That would be obnoxious at this point. We'll just, we'll do what we got here. Okay, so we're at admin. Get all that stuff. So yeah, more often than not, if I'm building or, you know, building a base or anything where you're like, you're in charge of what it looks like, it usually looks like garbage, unfortunately. Collect, restore, take, collect. I promise I won't read to you every time we go through this. Get back in, brakes off, next stop. I'm pretty sure, because this is the astronaut complex, but I'm pretty sure you get science for here and the flagpole. I suppose I could do all these and then store them as I go through. I kind of don't want it to tell me that every time, but at the same time, that's when I'll have... Oops, wrong one. I'll have Jeb there and totally forget that I'm about to lose out on science. Yeah, I wish I could crew report. Yeah, I should have put a... If I would have put a radio antenna on it, I could have crew reported consistently, but oh well. Let's get on over to the old flagpole. Because then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, I think just the 4 more facilities to do. Oh, I really didn't think about that. I might have stuck myself since I was literally going to the flagpole. Yeah, from flagpole. This needed to happen, but we might have to turn around and recover for sake of getting this stuff back. You need to get out. I don't think I'm going to be able to make that turn. We're going to try. We're going to try. Oh, you know what? Let's do some piloty stuff here. There we go. 50 points to who can name that technique. Not even close. This is not going to work. You got this. You got this. Come on. Nope. Alright. One last ditch effort. Differential thrust, by the way. For those wondering on the 50 points. It's gonna stay there. I'm literally just gonna stay in this, like, hooked on the flagpole state. Yeah, more prominent with props. Differential thrust. Still works with jets, but less common. Alright. How? What could we take the skill that we've learned here and apply it to make some more money for the Kerbal Space Program? Alright, stop it. Behave yourself. Yeah, we can't do that. I keep trying it. It's not going to change. Shut those down. That's the intake. I'm not worried about that. For sanity's sake, I'm going to try one last time to see if we can get these crew reports into the storage container. I don't think that's how that works, though. That's the only thing. Oh, well, we could have been doing that every time, too. Store. Yeah, okay. So we can store the EVAs, and then I don't know if you can take this. Yeah, I don't think you, like, take it with you. I feel like there was a way to overwrite crew reports without losing the stuff. Anyway, this has kind of made it so where you have to do this anyway. Antenna. That was the thing. I was like, there was some reason that this was also beneficial. 53 science. You click on the cockpit and remove the data. I'm going to have to try it. I knew there was. Okay, so we did admin. That's funny. I didn't even know it gives you a different flagpole bit there. Astronaut complex spaceplane. We did mission control. So we've got just the 4 because we'll do the crawlway as well. We did runway, and then we'll head over there and check that out. Let's get this antenna on. So based on how long it's taking me to do all this, I'm thinking we've probably 10:15. We'll call it a night. I do need to check. I have not looked to see if there are any more Kerbal Space folks making any good videos or anything like that. Not videos, but streamers is what I was looking for, to see if I could at least drop you off on this fine Sunday evening and have you continue watching somebody when I bail on you. All right, we've got that in place. I think this is necessary. It looked cooler with the bottom engines, but we don't have to listen to them. Plus, there's plenty of thrust that's there anyway, so. All right, last time. Stop crashing wheels. Stop hanging up on flagpoles. Let's go. Yeah, so we just need to swing around the backside. I think we might even have done. Is that mission control? Yeah. I think we might even have done mission control, but we'll hit these 3, hit the crawlway, and then we'll jump the runway and then scope out our mystery building, which is going to be, I'm assuming it's going to be extremely anticlimactic. 30,000 meters per second, delta V. What happens when you full throttle up? Say? This thing is disgusting looking, obviously, but I think we might be onto something, at least for the weight, the thrust to weight that's in this, for when we actually do make our plane. Because it does get scooting pretty well. I don't think it would take too much to make that happen. Now, I did neglect to kind of, oh, we didn't set up our stuff. Let's painstakingly shut these down. Not that that's a big deal. Nobody wants to listen to that while we do this. I didn't chat too much about the series and what I intend to do, because this is what I'll do for this foreseeable for Sundays, because right now I don't have anything on the stream schedule for Sundays. What was I blabbing about? The plan. What was the plan? I don't think I'm going to go into each stream with a plan. I think that's what I was reaching for. I think we'll kind of take it as we see it. We'll let contracts kind of drive what we're up to, and what we haven't accomplished and things like that. Because I think if I set up like we're going to do this or that, that's going to keep us too focused. I'm going for, my streams are always like what I want to play, and we're going to have fun. And if we're not having fun, we're not going to do it. So that's definitely what the goal will be. All right, let's see if I'm smart enough to do the crew report bits. So if we get him out, I assume. Take data. That just makes sense. That just makes sense. So I'm only going to store... I'm going to store all the crew reports, because if we miss out on all of them... Well, that was interesting. Interesting way to do that. Collect data first. Yeah, I was going to say... I wasn't going... We want that to go away. That's going to confuse me. To take crew reports at all of them, just in case that doesn't count. But you're bringing them back. So there's got to be... That's got to be the way to do that. Ding in your ear. EVA reports as well. I think those are okay though, because you take the EVA outside, so it doesn't need to overwrite what's inside the craft there. All right, most efficient route. Because that's R&D. So yeah, we need to do R&D too. Okay, so we'll do vehicle assembly, R&D, tracking, crawler way, mystery items. Your engines are off. Try and restage it. Click. Alright. Try this again. Yeah, if we just kind of shoot along the line here, we'll be alright. All in all, other than me breaking my no revert promise, I think it's been a good successful day one. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm at least like reacclimating, I guess, to just the gameplay in general, and like things like how much delta V we need and how much it's going to take to get that. I think that's going to come, and realistically trial and error. I am going to look stuff up. Not in like a crazy cheaty manner, but I'm not going to know like orbital insertions and things like that. So we're going to have to do a little bit of cheesing as far as what we can get out of Google, if you will. But I think we're in a good way. I think we're laying out some good stuff. What other games do you stream? Yeah, so right now I've got a Friday, Saturday, Sunday on a weekly basis. Let's store... That's Friday is Back in My Day Friday, so that's where I play a game that I played either growing up or as a younger fella, we'll say. So right now we're doing Quest for Glory 3 in that series. Saturday is Saturday Z, so that's where I play DayZ. Right now I've got a Deadfall adventure going, and then I'll be doing this every Sunday. And outside of that, we didn't restore, and then we'll just board. Outside of that, I will put on randomly streams for when I've bought a game, and then I play it for 2 hours and decide whether or not to return it. So it's called Before the Window Closes, and that's obviously before the Steam window closes, your return availability. So Tuesday, I had Void Train that I was going to play. I've got work now on Tuesday, so that's not going to be the case, but I'm still going to do a demo for Vitrified on Wednesday, and then we'll do Void Train probably maybe Thursday. We'll see. That'll be on the stream schedule, though. I'd like to keep... R&D, okay, I want to make sure we were on the right spot. I like to keep YouTube up to date as far as upcoming streams, so that'll have, like, what the plan is, and then Twitch is a little funky, right? I'm not an affiliate, so I can't schedule single streams, but it'll say, like, every Tuesday, every Wednesday, when really it's just a single stream. So all that stuff is on there, and will continue to be so. That was a very long-winded answer to your question. Alright, I think I need to... Oh yeah, take... That's what I haven't been doing. I haven't been taking and storing. Store. Let's get in and crew report before I forget to do that, because that was a shortcoming. Interesting. There shouldn't be... Okay, I've got to put everything in there. That seems to be the only way that that's going to work out. To take the crew report. Yeah, okay. Take. Remember when I said I wasn't going to read that to you every time I do it? Somebody's a bad liar. I think we already did this. So it tells us that there's an overwrite. No, okay, we didn't. Alright, over to tracking. As ugly as this little rover is, I gotta say, she's doing a good job. She's doing us proud. I think what I'll do off stream is try to work on a flag. I feel like that's important. Need to identify ourselves when we land on other worlds. And I'm going to continue going through the missions because I don't want to just like totally not have any idea what I'm doing for like landings and stuff like that. Custom flag indeed. I feel like it's a necessity. Yeah, that's a thing indeed. I don't think I ever played with it, but I think you can upload images if I remember right. We kind of have to do this backwards because I crew reported too late. There we go. I need to learn how to do that. I need to learn how to do it too, so we are in the same boat, but I am nearly positive. There we go. Didn't restore that last time. Nearly positive that that is a thing. No guarantees here. That's never a safe way to keep your credibility. Take all this good stuff. I don't remember if we EVA'd. This is going to be a science hefty run. I think we're going to be in a good spot next Sunday to actually be able to do some rocketry goodness. Inevitably, I'm going to start messing with space planes too. Look at all that data. I don't remember how crazy... I also forgot our lights. Boop. I was going to say how crazy the crawler way is, so it's a good thing. Okay, good. Alright, we're going to get really nuts, and we're going to do it on the move. Maybe. Let's see if we can get lined up first. Yeah, that track keeps kind of sucking us in over there. There we go. That's not what I wanted to do. That's why you don't do this stuff. That's okay. We'll make it all happen. Kinda. The problem is I don't want him outside, hanging on for dear life. Now we can obviously do the experiments. Let's make sure that that indeed is considered on the launch pad. Yeah, okay. We can do these when we're sitting on a launch pad on a rocket, but it's much easier just to get it knocked out here, and then we don't have to wait that later. You're not able to do surface samples or soil samples. Surface samples are unlockable in Astronaut Complex, I think. One of those type places, and I didn't unlock that. So that is something that is unfortunately going to have to take place again later and do all this run around with the rover at a later date. That might be something I do off stream, because as exciting as it is to watch science collection, we can do that at a later time. Okay, what did I not reset? Restore. I was going to say, those readouts don't look the way that they should. Alright, I think that does it. Let's head back. Brakes are still on. Let's head back to the runway. I'm going to run everything on the runway one more time, just in case. And then we're going to go get eyes on this mysterious monolith that is, once again, probably nothing. But imagination has run wild. The list of possibilities is endless. I'm curious. I'm glad. I thought there was a very large potential that I was by myself on that one. Alright, let's get on the runway. Our garbage dirt runway. Get face towards our little friend out there. I'm pretty sure we did all these to start. Yeah, I'm not even going to take it. So we'll keep Bob in his seat. Yeah, that reset. Okay. I don't think we EVA'd though, because I don't think I had remembered that that was a thing. We did not. Plop that in there. Off we go. I think too we can get grasslands over here. We're gonna have to do something like a little like Cessna style plane, like a 172 style, that can take off and then land in some austere environments to be able to do some of the other stuff. Also, we'll need to be able to unlock the other launch sites, which I didn't even know. That was another thing I didn't know was a thing. Thank you, Matt Loud. Not necessarily spoiler free, but that's not what I asked for. Alright, don't point straight at it. We don't want another flagpole incident. Is this debris from one of my landings? No, because it would have one of the square around it. You do your EVA crew reports from orbit for different biomes. I don't think I knew that. Well, so it might be different, right? Because it the EVA report, but I'm talking all of the experiments. I think you can redo them, and I think it says in space over versus, you know, on Kerbal Shores or whatever it, however it's worded. But we'll figure it out together. We will see together. Doesn't help that it's nighttime. Oh, squad. That's funny. Squad indeed. I don't know if this is going to be different than doing like a Kerbal Shores, but let's go over here and take a peek. That's the wrong button. Kerbal Shores. Okay, I didn't know if that was going to say like from the monolith type thing. Or the flagpole. Let's not talk about the flagpole. Recency of the event is too soon. Got our crew. Crack that EVA. Cool. We can take all these off. 2 spoon. That's why. Isn't that the cause for obesity? That was terrible. I responded too quick. That's the problem. There wasn't enough time for it to cook. Those. You know what's really funny? I thought I saw like Pappy or Vassy lights next to the runway, but it was a smudge on my screen. I'm like, oh, that's cool. They actually put lights on there. No, they didn't. Alright, so we're Kerbal Shores. We're going to have to go out here to get to grasslands. I'm kind of tempted to do it, actually. I really don't want to blow having, like, we'll ramp off something here and, you know, blow up the whole thing. So we'll just bring it on home. I know I could recover here, but it just feels wrong leaving our little science rover out all by his lonesome. Definitely going to need to slow it down a little bit, though, to bring it up here. Play it safe. Play it safe indeed. I need to get a little counter up top for how many times I either revert or have to redo or blow stuff up. I think that might frighten me a little too much. You know what, just for silliness sake, we'll bring it on up to the spaceplane hangar. Which is funny that there's like, this should be the, you know, hangar doors. They have a death counter. Yeah, I had played with potentially doing like a custom counter, not even a death counter, just like, oh, there's the hangar doors. That makes more sense. I'm like, these look like the ones that roll up. But since I do play a different game pretty much every, like, I don't think I two stream in a row the same type of thing unless I have to cancel some. I'd be having to vary what it is. I know, so much work, right? You lazy bum, you can't even set up different counters. Alright, science complete. What's your YouTube? Same. I multi-stream over there, so we got some folks over on YouTube watching right now as well. Games with Elder B. It is in my About section on Twitch. You can check it out there. Otherwise, I'll post it in the chat for you. No reason to get so lazy that I can't have you go check it out. All right, let's collect. See what we got. Yeah, I need to spend a little bit more time actually on some YouTube videos. I like to release one every 2 weeks, and I'm about to slip behind that. 120 science earned, more or less. 245. So what we're going to do, since we have gone over by about 15 minutes for tonight, we're going to leave that science to stew, and my brain is going to sit for a week and just think about what we can do with all that delicious science. But let's go take a peek real quick. What can 245 get us? So we'd be at 45. We don't care about that so much, but advanced construction is going to have, where is it? There we go. The protective shell, that's going to be really big. This is good. The tricoupler for larger craft. Rotation servos are a lot of fun. I'm just not very good with them. The hinges are going to be for, you know, deploying satellites and stuff. So that's a little bit more advanced. So that wouldn't be what we're concerned about quite yet. The protective shell though, for sure. So let's include that in our little tally here. So we're at 135, 180. Landing is important. The gear is good. It's retractable gear, so that might be a thing. Maybe not though. We definitely need general rocketry so we can get to advanced. I forget where we're at already. I think we were, did I say 180? That's be 90, 180, 200, 245. So that's probably what we'll look at doing. But I do want to get further into, we don't have any solar panels yet, so that would be our first solar panel. So we do have some decisions to make for sure. That's for plopping long-term experiments on the moon. That's what we're going to need when we start going to the moon, just in case. So yeah, a lot to consider here. The biggest thing, I forget what gives you SAS. It might even be the first inline reaction wheel. I don't remember. I potentially have to look that up just so it's not all goofy. Hey Tony, thanks man. You too, bud. The 07s are strong tonight. I love it. Yeah, so we'll take a look at that next Sunday. We'll be back for Kerbal Space Sundays. It is coming into the holiday season for folks. I know some people will be, most people, lots of people. Not myself though. We're boring old people who don't do such things. But you know, we've got Thanksgiving coming up in the U.S. and then creeping on into the real holiday season in December. I'm a little bit busy for work, but I'm going to keep the stream schedule up to date. So if I do happen to have to miss any of them, you guys will know. Appreciate y'all coming out. It's a really strong turnout tonight. Makes me happy. Makes me have more fun kind of chatting at you guys. I'm going to keep calling you Al unless you yell at me. But Al, I appreciate the chat. Appreciate you helping me out. You claim to be new, but I think you have more experience than I do. Tony, thanks again for watching, all the folks at YouTube. We'll see you next Sunday for Kerbal Space Sundays. Otherwise, shooting for Wednesday for Vitrified, Friday, back in my day Friday, Saturday will be Saturday Z. And then if you're not interested in any of that goodies, don't have time, don't want to watch, we'll see you next Sunday for Kerbal Space Sundays, Day 2, where we'll actually do some space stuff, potentially. Thanks so much, everybody, for coming out. If you happen to be watching this at a later date, I'm Elder B. Take care.